I just want to start the stream off by saying I want to give a special shout out to the bitch ass nigga who stole my fucking flowers out the mailroom yesterday. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I ordered a nice $200. No, it was like $250. It was almost $300 with taxes. A nice flower bouquet off of 1-800-Flowers. I get a text message saying my shit was delivered. Some nigga who didn't get shit for their wife or their girlfriend probably saw it in the mailroom and they swiped my shit. So I want to shout out you bitch ass nigga, for stealing my shit, bruh. Had a nigga sweating, had to run to fucking CVS. Had to get some fucking cheap dollar flowers, bruh. So now I gotta call them and be like, yo, some nigga stole my fucking shit, bruh. Special place in hell for people like that. He said it was me. It's messed up. Almost ruined my damn night yesterday. But yeah. Besides, shout out to that bum. What was I about to say? Yeah, that's some diabolical shit. You know, it was some dude who probably forgot it was Valentine's Day for his wife. We're gonna get into it with the Xbox. The podcast dropped today. We about to find out what's the lies of Liza P, the lies of Phil. They dropped a 20-minute podcast. For those of you unaware about the rumors that's been going on for the last week and a half about the future of Xbox, there's been rumors circulating that there will be no more hardware they'll be producing in the future, and they'll be moving all their exclusives over to other platforms. Phil Spencer said, whoa, 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 whoa. We finna drop something to address the people, and we're gonna talk about it. And then we're gonna talk about some other interesting news that's dropped today as well, too, that I seen on my timeline. So we're not gonna yap too much. We're gonna get straight into it because I'm excited. It's only 20 minutes long, which first and foremost, I wanna say before we even get into this, kudos to Xbox. I like when companies do this shit, regardless of whatever they say. I like that they saw a big rumor circulating and they said, you know what, we finna sit down, we finna make a video, and we finna address it. I like that. And then B, I like the fact that this video is only 20 minutes long. I think I said in a previous stream, I pray it's not longer than like 45 minutes because they were calling it a podcast. I was like, please don't wait. Please don't make us watch a 2-hour podcast talking about the future. It's only 20 minutes, so it sounds like it's going to get to the point. We're going to watch the whole thing. We're going to break down what exactly is the future of Xbox before we get into some other stuff. It should be interesting. Yeah, transparency. I give them kudos for transparency. Come out and address this shit. So I'm finna turn this beat off and we finna get into it. If you just coming in the room, welcome. We finna watch this Xbox shit. Let's get it. The lies of Phil Spencer.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome.
Can I just say, shout out Sarah Bond. She look real nice. Yo, shout out to the known unknowns with the subs.
About some updates.
She look real nice, bro. I'm definitely excited to see about the future of Xbox.
Talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass, and we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox.
James Bond.
Where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision.
You can tell this man has not been sleeping.
In Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us.
Yo, we getting right to it. We a minute in. They said, fuck it. We standing on business. What you got to say, Phil?
So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can.
Can I this why this face that I stopped it on? Oi, oi. But anyways, can I break this down for you guys? So based off, I mean, we still got 19 minutes to watch, but based off this first minute of what he just said, 4 Xbox games are coming to other platforms. That has not been specified what platforms, but it sounds like to me they're still going to make hardware. They're just moving some of their games over to be more open. Now, what does that translate to? You have to read between the lines, chat. Phil Spencer is trying to tell you and this only really applies if you're a fanboy, you're weird, you don't touch grass. He's saying we don't give a fuck if you're an Xbox fanboy. We don't give a fuck if you have a Purple Heart in the console war. Fuck your Purple Heart, nigga. We are trying to maximize our profits. That's what he's saying. It costs a lot of money to produce these games. It costs a lot of money to buy Activision Blizzard. And we are trying to recoup. So it sounds like he's saying Xbox will be our priority, but we're also going to explore some other revenue options. And you're going to have to get over it. You're going to have to grow up. Remember, the average gamer is 35 years old. And I'm going to be honest. In the next 10 years, I would not be surprised if that number goes up to like 38, pushing 40, because that NES, that Atari crowd is getting older and older, which I'm a part of, which means, and if you don't quit gaming, it's just going to, and you keep doing this console fanboy shit, it's going to get worse, and it's weird. It's fucking weird.
Always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So,
translation, because I feel like people are going to misunderstand this. We have 4 games that are coming to PlayStation and potentially Switch. Well, we don't know what platforms. Coming to other platforms, but we're not going to announce it here. And the reason being is it's going to take away from the conversation that's happening right now. And instead, what we want to do is each of those 4 game studios have their own plans to announce it, which will allow us to maximize our profit, which further plays into my original point. We're here to maximize the profits. Why do one big announcement where there's 4 games coming to all the other platforms, and one or two, 3 of those games could get lost in translation, when we can do 4 individual announcements at their own time, allowing them to get their own light, their own promotion, which further maximizes our profits. All right, Xbox fanboys, are you sticking with me? The gist of the argument that I'm creating is this is a mega corporation, one of the biggest in the world, Fortune 500. They don't give a fuck about you. They're here to make money. Phil's just saying it in a really nice way. Wake up.
I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think PlayStation niggas want Starfield, so I feel like PlayStation niggas is watching this, and she said it's not gonna be Starfield. Oh, thank God. the Indiana Jones, some people might be upset though. Well, you guys can keep that shit.
The team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles.
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a
Yo, fire the editor. Fire the editor. This man just said Starfield is not coming to PlayStation, and then you show footage of Starfield. You know, people, the reason why I say fire the editor, people are stupid. They don't listen. They hear what they want to hear. So if you put that, people read with their eyes. You put that shit in there, and people might misconstrue what he's saying. Yo, shout out to Big Steven with the sub. And it's like right after. What are you doing, dude?
Belief that over the next
who greenlit this?
Years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of...
Translation. Xbox games will be coming to PlayStation, but you're getting the hand-me-downs. You're going to have to wait. When we do come out with new games, don't expect them to be there day one.
First iterations of a franchise.
Shout out the T with the sub.
That have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great.
Y'all saying Gears of War in the chat. I don't know if I agree with that because he keeps putting emphasis on 2 of them are community-driven games. I wouldn't put that as Gears of War. I see somebody say Sea of Thieves. I feel like Sea of Thieves makes sense. I feel like that's a community game, if that makes sense.
And great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant.
Grounded, yeah, Grounded makes sense too. That makes more sense.
As kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that.
The game's already leaked.
Games that are
they did. Hold up. Let's see. Anybody got a link? Xbox games coming to other platforms. What else, Zuri? Let's see, this is 1 hour ago. According to The Verge, they're starting off with 4 games. Sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tell me the first 2 titles will be Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment. Hi-Fi Rush is a good game. I don't know what the fuck Pentiment is. Followed by Sea of Thieves and Grounded. Community games. So then, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the only one that really be excited about, in my opinion, is Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, Sea of Thieves, people do like it, but I do feel like that's an acquired taste. Although I feel like Sea of Thieves numbers are about to go up because fucking Skull and Bones, but people are going to play that game out of spite. And then Grounded is just kind of, something. I don't really care about, besides Hi-Fi Rush, I don't really care about them games.
Teams really want
to the young Lacey with the sub.
That we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us...
He said it. To drive more business value. This is all just to maximize the profit. They don't care about y'all.
To
you Xbots,
in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio.
We need
we
more
don't
money.
Damage Xbox, and we can grow our business using what other platforms have, and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please.
Do you think he plays games? Phil Spencer? Absolutely. That's why he got hired. He tweets about the games he plays. He's definitely a gamer.
Don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games that can benefit from bigger audiences.
I'm in love with the fact a bunch of console simps set this shit on fire. Right, my man sent this shit to GameStop for no reason. My man traded in his Xbox for pennies for no reason.
New audiences. How does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform.
Did you hear what he said? He said, how do we grow the industry? Translation once again. We're trying to maximize our dollar. We're trying to be pro-consumer, and we want the business to grow as a whole. Phil said in a very nice way, Xbox, he doesn't give a fuck about your feelings in the console war and how many tours you served in that console war. He's trying to grow the culture as a whole, which means they need to reach as many people. You don't catch a bunch of fish with a small net. You need a wide net. He wants more fish. Come on, guys.
Platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games. And
Do you get a Hellcat in the console war? Nah. Console niggas who fight in console wars don't drive Hellcats. They don't even drive. They're unemployed.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on
yeah, they get a basement.
Just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years, where it used to be that the platform was the
Mad Booty.
That's right.
and the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us.
There you have it. See, guys, they're letting you know. This is even more about profit. This whole thing is about just making money. He's reassuring you, and which is a good thing if you're fighting the console war. The Game Pass will be exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem. You will only be able to get that on Xbox. Therefore, in my opinion, the Xbox still has a value from an exclusive standpoint. You will not be able to get that on PlayStation and Nintendo. So if any of these games come to other platforms, they're going to have to pay $60, $70. That's how they're going to keep people there. And that's how they're going to maximize their dollar. Console fanboys, relax.
As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue.
The woman in the middle, that's
to
Sarah
look at
Bond.
that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player. To me, the two key things are cross-play and cross.
I think she's the vice president or like the head of marketing or something. She's sitting up there for a reason. She's one of the top dogs at Xbox.
Those things allow us to deliver on the
said she got an
promise of
IG. Yo,
Xbox,
chill.
which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage
got
of
a
that.
LinkedIn,
There's certainly
right.
some games that don't.
She married, chat. She married.
Bring more teams into the Xbox
Chill.
family. There's some catch up to do. Like that. Cross-play, cross-save.
I follow her
is
LinkedIn.
So fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce.
Oh, I stand corrected. My bad. Not vice. She is the president. Like I said, she's sitting up there for a reason. She's top dog at Xbox.
Coming together that we had with
I think she's second in command to him. And I think Phyllis, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Phyllis stepping down. That's why she's president.
Activision Blizzard King. That
He's stepping down
Activision
at some
Blizzard
point, I
games
believe.
Are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super
put some respect
super
on her
excited
name.
to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox.
And can't nobody say she a diversity hire, because if you've been around in my streams for the longest, you know she been putting in work. I feel like we've been seeing her for like 10 years now. Sarah Bond's been around for a while. She's been putting in work.
Experience and the games that we build is widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can
Relax
we
at
come back to the
Xbox.
point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once.
I feel like the majority of
play
the
across
information that we needed was in that first 5 minutes. I feel like they're yapping now. They haven't really said anything like the last 2-3 minutes.
Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple
He said
entitlements
2 times
in the
speed
game.
up. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes. I might speed it up.
Technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content community and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays.
Use
we all
AI to
win.
summarize the
Different
video.
strategy,
I could.
kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device.
We've been on this shit,
It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of
Feature
making the
Xbox
games
podcast.
as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players
Nah,
should be
Fallout.
voting
Nah,
for,
nah.
because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have.
I just noticed, like, they all got, like, besides Sarah, they all got, like, black shoes on. His almost look like black Air Forces. I think it's because Xbox is about to rob all y'all, bruh. They letting the PlayStation fans know we coming to steal your money.
I've put some
you
games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest.
That talking point is not fair because all those other games that are on a platform, this is before you acquired Activision Blizzard. So why even bring that up? That is hella corporate talk. These niggas put their name on the paper that had nothing to do with them. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the Xbox Bethesda partnership started when Starfield dropped, okay? Like, all this shit doesn't... Why are we throwing Doom in there? What, The Evil Within, Prey, Wolfenstein, Dishonored? Dishonored's like 10 years old. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch.
It's theirs now, but it's like that had nothing to do with it.
Well, now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people
They're the group
love,
project partner.
and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies
colonize Bethesda,
is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in an Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox.
That's got to be a stab in the heart to a fucking console fanboy. This man Phil is telling y'all. He said the most important thing to the board is growth in the business. Microsoft is one of the most powerful, I was about to say countries. I mean, they have the money of a country. They were the most powerful corporations in the world. Appeasing the board is the most important thing to them, not you with your tinfoil hat, your Xbox t-shirt, your 10 different Xbox controllers, and your 7 editions of Game Pass. They're trying to make money.
Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years. And I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be
If we keep it real, Microsoft could buy Detroit. I'm going to be honest, I could probably buy Detroit. But I would never pay for D, so...
everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So
I would
think
never
a
do
lot of
anything
people
like
think
that.
about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There was some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good
I see the
question.
Invincible trailer. No, I see one dropped. I ain't watch it yet. We'll
As
watch it.
people who care about the industry,
Later.
which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about.
Go ahead, log out for me.
But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make.
Gene, if you watched the last podcast, Gene did say on the podcast, for those you don't aware, for the last GI podcast, we had Gene Parker on there, and he writes for the Washington Post. He did say on the podcast, a common misconception is that the industry is growing, and it's not. It was at one point, but like over the last couple of years, it's kind of gotten stagnant, and things are starting to go down. And him saying that kind of reinforces it, basically, which I was unaware of. That reinforces it, which kind of goes back to the entire theme of this podcast. We are bringing our games to other platforms because we need to maximize the dollar, because we need to please our shareholders.
About building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline.
Yeah, about more layoffs potentially.
I think
Yeah.
there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to?
I think the only issue with this, and I mean, this is not even a gaming thing. This is kind of like a corporate greed type of thing. I understand the sentiment of making more money, but it's under the guise. The perception is under the guise that every person who plays games is a hardcore gamer. When I would argue probably 80 to 90% of gamers are more casual. And casual has a very wide spectrum. It could mean mobile games, or it could mean they just play Call of Duty, Madden 2K. You see what I'm saying? But like, I don't think most gamers nowadays are like super hard. Like, if you're tuned into this stream, you're more likely on the hardcore side of things. But if you watch, I don't know. I'm not gonna say like a content creator's name. I'm gonna say, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm insulting. But if you watch a certain other type of content creator, they only play certain types of games. That audience only likes those certain types of games, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think the problem with their thinking is, it's under the assumption that everybody is looking to consume The Rise of Ronin. Everybody's looking to consume Starfield. No, Starfield is a very specific type of gamer. I think what's happened with gaming is what I keep talking about. There's been the rise of the hardcore casual, especially with like Fortnite. I feel like Fortnite, it started with PUBG and then Fortnite kind of accelerated it, where gaming has become super mainstream. And those people like those games, but just because somebody enjoys Fortnite doesn't mean they're going to buy Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm going to go take a wild guess and say that game's probably not going to sell that well. And if it does sell well, in the 2 to 3 million range, I would say is like max for them. It's not going to do fucking 10 million plus, I don't think. I would be shocked. I mean, I could be wrong. And as I say, because like most people are really not that hardcore. And I think that's the only issue with their way of thinking, and business people as well. It's under the guise that everybody's like this hardcore gamer that wants everything they have to offer. I don't know. We'll see.
To the base of players that are
gaming being mainstream is what's contributing to the gaming also being more expensive. Yeah, and like this way of thinking too. Power World numbers, yeah, like not every game is gonna appeal to everybody like Power World.
Like, our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
I think it's important to always remember, like, this is a corporate greed thing. There's only so many people that can buy your product. There's only, what, I think right now, 8-9 billion people on Earth. Only a certain sector of them are gamers, and then only a certain sector of them enjoy Xbox games. There's always going to be like a limited pool. Like, I feel like one of the biggest issues with corporations nowadays is they have this concept of like unlimited growth, and that's just not a reality. At some point, everybody plateaus. Your pauses are great. I try to add something to the conversation. At some point, it's gonna plateau, and I think as a corporation, you have to think about like, what can we do to sustain this? Because also that greed could lead to your downfall. That's when you start getting shitty ass live service games and shit. Yeah, basically capitalism ruins everything. Like, jokes aside, like having a serious conversation about some of the stuff that's going on with this. It's just, I hope they don't lean too much. I get they want, because I would imagine Grounded, if it's true, Grounded and then Sea of Thieves. I think Sea of Thieves did so well. I don't think Grounded did. So it kind of makes sense. They want to be able to try to make back as much money as possible. I just hope they don't lean too much into the we need to maximize the profit shit, because then that's when we start getting more shitty live service games with poor game design. I think I seen someone in the chat say earlier that it kills creativity. It does. And at the end of the day, one of the things I feel like these corporations have to understand, I understand. I think if I had to pinpoint it, when the hardcore casual came into play, what started it was the Wii. That's when gaming went mainstream. When it came out with the dick controller and you could swing it around because of the motion controls, it was easy for everybody to understand. And then we had the natural evolution of like other games coming in, and it just naturally started becoming more mainstream. But what I feel like these corporations got to understand is gaming will not be anything without the hardcore audience. Like, that 10% dictates the culture, because the people that enjoyed the Wii, the people that enjoyed the Fortnite or the Call of Duty, they're going to come and go. But the people who play Rise of Ronin, they play Elden Ring, they're always going to play games. So it's like, the most important thing is they have to understand that. Always make sure you're trying to appease the hardcore too, and not just keep going after this money. Capitalism ruins everything, guys. It is a
Earlier,
dick controller.
You were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large, and comparable on such a
when
different
them
level.
casuals is gone, it's only going to be the hardcore.
Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we? We're obviously thinking
Yep, the
about
whole Xbox One launch is a perfect lesson from that. Exactly. TV. Everybody was like, the nigga said TV. Everybody was like, I think I'm gonna get a PS4. and do you know why? Because when they announced the Xbox One, it wasn't people who play Call of Duty watching that event. It was the hardcore. And the hardcore audience said that Xbox One is ass. And guess what? Casuals and hardcores bought the PS4 because of it. And Sony won that in my opinion, they won that that generation because of that shit. So like, you always have to make sure who is your core fan base. And that's not even a gaming thing. That's anything. That's any type of business.
responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft.
Everybody losing this generation.
Driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of.
Who would you say is better this generation so far? In terms of consoles, I'm gonna be honest. This is probably one of the worst generations in terms of like exclusives. The real winner is PC gamers, in my opinion. And before anybody says, "Oh, I have a bias," because my PC's old. I've been playing on my Xbox. I would argue PC gamers are winning right now. I think Xana said in the chat they released 6 exclusives in 4 years on the PS5. Xbox got what? Starfield? That's about it. They got like 1, 2. It really hasn't. There's like hardly any new IPs, and then the one we got was Starfield. It wasn't very good. Ragnarok turned into a puzzle simulator. I'd argue PC is winning because not only do they have like the fun, cool exclusives, but then they get the PlayStation and the Xbox games. You see what I'm saying? So I would argue PC gamers are winning. Yeah, they're not even utilizing the full power
to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel like the last great generation was PS3, Xbox 360. I agree. Like the last great. The PS4, Xbox One era was good. It was okay. Like there was a lot of good games there, but I don't feel like it was great. And then this generation has been very lackluster. I think the last great generation being the 360 one being that way is because that was like the last generation where I feel like there was a lot more creativity. Like for every Call of Duty, you were also given like Bulletstorm, and you just had like a lot of AA games where like they experimented and tried new things. But I mean, like game production has become so much more expensive. These companies are afraid to take risks, so you're not getting any AA games. You're either getting like indie games or like high budget AAA games. There's no in between, I feel like.
I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history
Almost
of
like the middle class of gaming has died.
moved from a place where
It's almost like gaming has become a reflection of the real life economy. There's no middle class in gaming anymore. And like some of my favorite games are like those middle of the road games where like it was a little janky, but it was fun too. Like
that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware, to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like crossplay, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this.
It sucks too because I feel like with like a first iteration of a game, if they're lucky enough to get a trilogy, usually the first one is like the jankiest one. Like if you go back and play Assassin's Creed 1, that game is janky as fuck. It was good for its time, but like it was janky as fuck. It didn't become good until Assassin's Creed 2, but it was given the space to breathe. Because remember, it was supposed to be like a Prince of Persia game. Like Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed wasn't really like a AAA game. It was just like, we was like, what is this? Where's Prince of Persia?
This is actually Pal World. You know, Pal World.
Sometimes developers need that breathing room to try shit.
Launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking.
Yeah, the difference between Mass Effect 1 and 2 is like night and day. Yeah, I mean, that's another good example. Mass Effect 1 is pretty janky. And then 2, it became like a completely different game. But it's like, it almost feels like these developers aren't even given a chance to make mistakes and let shit breathe, because nothing ever really starts out AAA. It really doesn't become like AAA to like that second game.
About the role that hardware
but you gotta
plays
get there.
for creators.
So it feels like they gotta stick that landing on the first one.
What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal.
Shout out to the 600 people we got in here. If you're new, hit the follow button.
It also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them
Titanfall 3 will save gaming.
As many players as possible.
I hope so.
And we actually have more creators.
Yeah, Sony's Japanese.
for Xbox than ever before by
Thousands,
nature,
yeah.
thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community.
what are you talking
probably
about?
To each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
You don't own it. It's in the terms of service.
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand.
And to add this, I'm not gonna lie. If you're a subscriber of the Game Pass, you shouldn't even be complaining that you don't own the game. Like, it just kind of, it's like the trade-off. It's the value. Where I will draw the line, though, is if you buy the game digitally, I do have a problem with that shit. We got to figure out some workaround for that. Like, taking away people's purchases, that shit's whack.
Stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that, and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save system.
My saves,
to try
my
to keep
Microsoft
those
points.
services up as long as we can so that people can play is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're gonna support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and
I feel like he put a lot of, we gotta respect. I feel like he specifically said that just for the console fanboys sitting there with their Xbox t-shirt. Probably got like a little party hat with Xbox's symbol on it. Maybe a tattoo of Phil Spencer's face on their arm and shit. We have to respect the hardware. They're just saying that for like the console fanboys to make them feel like, you guys, your Xbox is not going anywhere. Your $200 Xbox Series S that you got off Temu is not going anywhere, guys.
an Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
Can I just say that we've reached a really weird point in gaming where niggas feel the need to do a podcast, and part of the podcast is they feel the need to let gamers know where Xbox, like, what is this, a political debate? Like, what the fuck are you talking? We're talking to Sleepy Joe, we're talking to Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty, which I've been wanting to make a joke the entire time about this dude, but I'm gonna chill. There's just something I noticed about him, but like, I'm gonna let it go. It's really, but anyways, I just think it's funny. I'm like, what is this, a political debate? What is this? I don't, like, what does this question even fucking matter, man? Oh shit.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first feature.
And there's like an Xbox fanboy at home watching this. Wow, I'm glad they reassured me that the Xbox Army, this is what we stand for. Universal healthcare for Xbox fans.
Cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library.
I've never as a gamer thought, when I play my PlayStation, this is what I stand for. This is what I stand for.
the investments that we make in cloud
When I
gaming.
play my PC, this is
You're
what I
playing
stand
somewhere
for.
where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with
are you
you
talking
and
about?
across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful.
This is pandering.
And creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up.
We heard the enlistment numbers are down. Don't leave. We need you to re-enlist in the Xbox Army, guys. Come fight the war.
Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
I would love to be in like a fly on the wall. Like after they got done filming, they said, "And cut." Phil Spencer like takes the mic, man, get this shit the fuck off me. I'm tired of talking to these losers, bro. Oh shit. Overall though, I feel like the majority of the information you could have got like in the first 5 minutes. This did not need to be 20 minutes. 15 minutes tops. They could have got their point across. The second half was literally just kind of yapping and pandering to the Xbox fan base, like fucking relax. But in terms of the information that they revealed about the games coming to other platforms, I don't care because I'm not like loyal to any platform. I just be playing games. Yo, shout out to Evan Lee. But it's also interesting because the rumors are not as bad. Because remember, the original rumors were not only were the games coming to other platforms, they were going to stop making hardware and they were going third party like Sega. Xbox is still here. It's still going to be the big three. They're just, exploring other revenue options. Because remember, guys, Microsoft is a mega corporation and they don't care whether or not you're loyal to them because they're loyal to the dollar. Real gamers don't participate in console wars. Yeah, we just clown them. Trying to figure out if I should get this joke off or not, but fuck it. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I was trying not to laugh the entire time this whole podcast was going on because if you pay attention to it, there's 4 people on stage and these 3 they've been relaxed the entire time. They're just sitting in their chair, just talking. And I just found it funny that this man's name is Matt Booty. And the entire time during the podcast, this nigga's back was like arched. I'm like, yo, nigga, you're really living up. I'm like, yo, sit back in the chair and fucking relax, bro. Like, I'm done. Like, this nigga's really living up to his name. That nigga was arching that shit.